All right, buckle up, buttercups, because the story I'm about to lay on you ain't for the faint of heart. It messed with my head, rearranged my soul, and basically turned my whole damn world upside down. I flatlined, y'all. 8 minutes gone. And what I saw, what I felt, it'll either make you a believer or make you question everything you thought you knew. I'm telling you, God's got a message and you better listen up. My name's Abigail, but most folks call me Abby. I'm 32, born and bred in sunny Miami. Not your typical South Beach party girl, though. I'm a nurse. Been one since I graduated, pouring my heart and soul into patching people up. Always thought I was doing good, helping folks. But lately it felt like something was missing. Life was just blah. Work, sleep, repeat. Evenings spent binge-watching reality television and scrolling through Instagram, trying to fill some kind of void. I had a decent apartment, good friends, a family that loved me, even if they were constantly hounding me about settling down and giving them grandkids. But underneath it all, there was this nagging feeling, like I was drifting, rudderless, just going through the motions. I'd see the patients in the hospital, hooked up to machines, fighting for every breath, and I'd wonder, what's it all for? Was this it? A life of chasing the next promotion, the next vacation, the next fleeting moment of happiness. It felt so empty. Spirituality? I wasn't exactly religious. Raised Catholic, went to church every Sunday until I was old enough to complain. Then it was Christmas and Easter only. Faith felt like something you did out of obligation, not because you actually believed. The whole God thing felt distant, abstract. I figured if there was a higher power, he, she, it was way too busy dealing with bigger problems than my existential crisis. The thing that got to me the most was seeing patients die. It felt so unfair, especially when they were young. All that potential snuffed out. I started asking questions. What happens next? Is there anything after this? Are we just dust in the wind? The questions gnawed at me, but I never found any answers that satisfied. So I just kept on drifting, telling myself to focus on the present, ignore the nagging doubts. Before I spill the tea on the craziest thing that ever happened to me, let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from. City, state, country. Hit me with it. I'm reading them all later. Okay, here we go. It was a Tuesday, just like any other. I was coming home from a particularly brutal shift at the hospital. Seen a kid code, lost an elderly patient I'd been taking care of for weeks. My head was pounding, my feet ached, and all I wanted was a hot shower and a glass of wine. I lived in an old Art Deco building near South Point Park. Beautiful architecture, but the floors were uneven, the hallways dimly lit. As I was walking to my apartment, I tripped. Just like that. My heel caught on a loose tile. I went down hard and smacked my head on the unforgiving marble floor. That's it. That's the last thing I remember. Blackness. Next thing I know, I'm floating. Not like floating in a pool, but lighter, untethered. I looked down and there I was, lying on the hallway floor. My body, pale, still. A small pool of blood spreading around my head. I freaked, obviously. What the hell? I yelled, but no sound came out. I tried to move, to reach myself, to somehow shake myself awake, but I couldn't touch anything. It was like I was a ghost, observing a scene unfolding but powerless to interact with it. Then I saw them. Not ghosts, not like in the movies, but beings made of light, pure, radiant light. They weren't angels, not with wings and halos. They were just light, intense, warm, and radiating an overwhelming sense of love and acceptance. They didn't speak, not with words. It was more like thoughts, emotions, flowing directly into my mind. They knew my name. They knew my fears, my doubts, my secret hopes. And they weren't judging me, they were just understanding. One of them approached me. It wasn't male or female, just presence. It extended a hand, or rather a beam of light, towards me. "Come," it communicated. "It is not your time, but you have been shown this for a reason." I hesitated. Part of me wanted to stay, to figure out what was going on, to scream for help. But the pull towards the light was irresistible. I reached out, and suddenly I was moving, faster than I could comprehend. Everything became a blur of colors and shapes. I felt a sense of speed, of acceleration, but without any sense of fear or disorientation. It was like being carried on a wave of pure energy. Then, I was in a place that defied description. It wasn't heaven, not like the paintings I'd seen in church. It wasn't a place of pearly gates and fluffy clouds. It was everything. All colors, all sounds, all emotions, all possibilities, all existing simultaneously. It was overwhelming, yet incredibly peaceful. The light beings were there with me, guiding me, showing me. I saw moments from my life, not just the big ones, but the small, seemingly insignificant ones. The time I held the door open for an elderly woman, the time I comforted a crying child, the time I gave a homeless man $1. These weren't heroic acts, just everyday kindness. But in this place, they shone. They radiated. The light beings showed me that these small acts of compassion, of empathy, had ripple effects. They touched people. They made a difference. They created a little bit of light in the world. Then, they showed me something else. They showed me the patients I had cared for, not just their physical bodies, but their souls. I saw their fears, their pain, their hopes. And I understood, on a deeper level, the impact I had had on their lives. It wasn't just about giving them medication or changing their bandages. It was about being present, about listening, about offering a moment of human connection in their darkest hours. Then, I saw others. Souls needing comfort, needing a voice, needing help. Some were in terrible darkness. Others were barely floating. I realized that my purpose wasn't just about the day-to-day task of being a nurse. It was about caring for those who needed it in all forms. That's when the message started to form. It wasn't a voice, not like I was used to. It was a deep, resonant knowing, a profound understanding that resonated throughout my entire being. Purpose isn't some grand, unattainable goal. It's not about finding the perfect career or achieving fame and fortune. Purpose is in the everyday. It's in the small acts of kindness and compassion. It's in being present for others, in offering a helping hand, a listening ear, a moment of genuine connection. The light beings showed me that every single person has the power to make a difference. Every act of love, every word of encouragement, every gesture of kindness creates a ripple effect, spreading light and positivity into the world. They showed me that even in the face of suffering and death, there is always hope. There is always love. There is always the possibility of healing and transformation. The real kicker? It's not just about human interaction. Even tending to the smallest animal, giving water to a plant, and a genuine appreciation of Earth can spread light. The love that exists within us is not limited to our species. But here's the thing, and this is where it got real for me. They weren't talking about some abstract theoretical concept. They were talking about me. They were showing me that I had the power to make a difference. I had the potential to create light in the world. The light beings showed me how the spiritual world operates. It's based on love, empathy, and connection. The kingdom of God or heaven isn't a distant place in the sky, it's a state of being. It's living in alignment with love, with compassion, with purpose. It's about recognizing the divine spark within ourselves and within everyone else. It's about understanding that we are all connected, that we are all part of something larger than ourselves. The spiritual world is not separate from our earthly existence. It permeates it. It influences it. We are constantly interacting with the spiritual world, whether we realize it or not. Our thoughts, our emotions, our actions all have an impact on the spiritual realm. They also showed me something that blew my mind. The things that we see as coincidences, those little moments of serendipity, they aren't random, they are guided. They are orchestrated by the spiritual world. The universe is constantly conspiring to help us fulfill our purpose, to guide us towards our highest potential. They aren't micromanaging us, forcing us to do anything against our will. They are simply nudging us, guiding us, opening doors for us. It's up to us to pay attention, to listen to our intuition, to follow the breadcrumbs. The light beings then explained that when a soul leaves the earthly plane, they are greeted by loved ones and guides. There is no judgment, only love and understanding. The soul is given an opportunity to review their life, to learn from their experiences, and to prepare for their next journey. They emphasize that death is not the end. It's a transition. It's a return to the source. It's a new beginning. Then, everything started to fade. The colors dimmed, the sounds softened, the feelings lessened. I felt myself being pulled back towards my body, back towards the hallway floor. I woke up in the hospital, disoriented, confused, and with a splitting headache. A doctor was hovering over me, shining a light in my eyes. "You're lucky to be alive," he said. "You were unconscious for quite a while. We found you just in time." He told me I had a concussion, a minor skull fracture, and a whole lot of explaining to do. He kept asking me what happened, how I fell, if I had been drinking. I just stared at him, speechless. How could I explain what I had seen? How could I convey the overwhelming sense of love and purpose I had experienced? How could I make him understand that I had died and come back with a completely different perspective on life? I didn't even try. I just told him I tripped. The next few weeks were interesting. Physically, I recovered quickly. The headache faded, the dizziness subsided. But emotionally, spiritually, I was a different person. The mundane things that used to bother me, the traffic, the bills, the annoying coworkers, they didn't matter anymore. I had seen something bigger, something more profound. I had experienced a love that transcended everything I had ever known. I started approaching my job with a renewed sense of purpose. I took the time to listen to my patients, to truly connect with them. I offered a comforting hand, a kind word, a moment of genuine empathy, and I saw the difference it made. I started volunteering at a local soup kitchen, helping to feed the homeless. I started donating to charities that supported children in need. I started reaching out to friends and family, telling them how much I loved them. I started paying attention to the small things, the moments of beauty and grace that I had always overlooked. The sunrise over the ocean, the laughter of children, the kindness of strangers. I started meditating, connecting with my inner self, listening to the guidance of the spiritual world. I started seeing synchronicities everywhere, those little coincidences that confirmed I was on the right path. Life isn't perfect. It's still messy, complicated, and full of challenges. But now, I face those challenges with a sense of purpose, with a sense of hope, with a sense of love. I understand that my purpose isn't about achieving some grand, unattainable goal. It's about being present, about being kind, about being a light in the world. It's about recognizing the divine spark within myself and within everyone else. I learned that death is not the end. It's a transition. It's a return to the source. It's a new beginning. I am not afraid of dying because I know that I will be greeted by love and understanding, and that's my story. The story of how I died for 8 minutes and came back with a completely different perspective on life. It's a story of transformation, of hope, of love. Now, it's your turn. I want you to reflect on your own life. What are your fears, your doubts, your secret hopes? What brings you joy? What makes you feel alive? What can you do starting today to create more light in the world? How can you be kinder, more compassionate, more present? How can you connect with the divine spark within yourself and within everyone else? Remember, your purpose isn't some grand, unattainable goal. It's in the everyday. It's in the small acts of kindness and compassion. It's in being present for others, in offering a helping hand, a listening ear, a moment of genuine connection. The world needs your light. Don't be afraid to shine. And tell me what you thought of my story in the comments. What resonated with you? Did it change anything for you? Let me know.